want you to hold up your notebook and show me that you've been writing. I don't care what you've been tweeting. Good, good. Nice. I'm proud of you. All right. Moving right along. We're right on schedule. Is your brain about to explode yet? Mine is. Hopefully you have some copious notes at this point, and we are still just getting started. A few more speakers, and then we got a lunch break. So get excited about lunch. Our next speaker, make sure that you put on your big boy brain and keep up with Barry Edwards.
Good morning. I'd like to start off by saying, do you know how much you paid for disposing of your waste last week, last month? Do you know how government works? I've worked for Catawba County. I'm the Director of Utilities and Engineering, and I can't tell you how many times I'm called per week where I immediately recognize people don't understand how their government works, the layers of government, and I know it's quite complicated. But what we're talking about today is Catawba County's EcoComplex, a study in waste management and renewable energy and synergetic relationships. It's really about industrial ecology, as John had mentioned to you earlier. Everything relates in life, everything. You can use the eco in that is economics, ecology, or ecological system. And what we're looking at is really, truly a symbiotic relationships between different, it's not staying, guys. It wants to carry you to where we go first, the landfill. Okay, you got it, thank you. But this is really an industrial ecology chart, how things relate. The old saying that one person's garbage is another person's treasure, and that's true. Really what we're trying to do is marry up by streams with in streams with different industries, maybe even between households, whatever that may be. Years ago we had people, we called them dumpster divers. They would go into the dumpster and pull things out of the dumpsters that they could use. And really what we're saying, hey, that's a great thing if you can get something out of a dumpster and you can use it, but it's dangerous and we don't allow you to do that. But the key is to try to capture that before it ever gets into the dumpster. But really, as we move through, the first step is always, we once had dumps, and then we moved to landfills, and the landfills are quite very, very much like wastewater treatment plants now. They are very, very protected, and they're very safe, but it's still not what we need to do with solid waste. Our Blackburn landfill that we have here in Catawba County, and we only accept the waste from Catawba County, and we're currently at 485 tons per day, 6 days per week. And what that, having a little trouble there, what that means is does industrial ecology work? We started in 2000 with this concept, and now we're 12 years later. When we started, we were at 650 tons of waste per day. So yes, it does work. It's a combination of many things, and we can say, okay, well, I'm recycling at my household. That's good that you are, but you need to recognize that 78% of our waste comes from industrial and commercial businesses. So no matter how much you recycle at your house, we're only touching 22% if we recycle everything in our house. The majority of it's done by businesses. How do we get businesses to recycle? A lot of businesses recycle because they want to change their image. Some of our contributors to food and drink today are some of those. But in the end, it matters, does it make money or does it save money? One thing I want to mention here is we've been creating energy from landfill gas now 13 years. We did it before it was sexy. We did it before they talked about it nationally. We and Monterey, California were the first two to do it. Did you know that? Does Hickory know that? What is interesting, I had Channel 9 News from Charlotte come up and do a coverage of us. I guess it was about 2 years ago, and I said, where were you 10 years ago? Where were you? it becomes sexy, everybody wants to talk about it. They want to talk about green energy. Or they add fancy words to it when it's really symbiotic relationships. What do we do with this? We produce 3 megawatts of electricity per hour. That electrifies about 1,400 homes. Could do more if you build LEED certified homes. Quite a bit more. What have we sold? We've sold $5.3 billion of electricity to Duke Energy over that period. What did that money do for you? We haven't changed the price of what it costs you to dispose of your waste. This is Catawba County at the landfill. Since I walked in the door 17 years ago, but one time. And that's because your state, the state of North Carolina, added a taxation to it. That's the only time. Because we enacted this EcoComplex, the concept of making something from anything that we can get, deriving energy from anything that comes, minimizing energy, like John had said earlier. How do we go about fostering that? My thoughts were, let's get the universities involved. Let's get the young people involved. I'm getting towards the end of my career. And to be honest with you, the Yenbacher system, the GE Yenbacher systems that we create electricity with, took 5 years from conceptual to actually producing energy. You'll see several things here in a minute that we've been in 5, 6, 7 years. We started this in 2000. It's a walk. It's not a run. It's a walk. I wish I could be like the first speaker and get out here and run the marathon, but unfortunately, I'm pulling this big weight behind me. And it's a political weight. It's a political weight. Here we have the biodiesel facility, our partner, Appalachian State University, and in this facility, we grow our own crops around the perimeter of the landfill, about 250 acres of crops. This is actual photographs from our past crops. The sunflower crop is the crop that's our summer crop. It's somewhere around 70 gallons per acre that we can create a biodiesel from this. Winter crop's much better. Canola, it's blooming now. It comes off in spring. It goes dormant in the winter, and then you harvest it in the spring. Much better, about 140 gallons per acre, somewhere in there. And of course, we're doing research with ASU with different hybrids of seeds, and so if you see in the press, oh, the county had to dispose of this or that, don't take that as a negative thing. We are looking at particular plots. We may plant particular seeds under certain conditions and see what they do. And why should we do that? Well, one is that's part of what government should do. We should be building the platform for our farmers to succeed in what they do. That's part of our job. That's the part of the we the people. It's what we should do. And so that's what we are doing. We're trying to build and understand crops for Western North Carolina. That's what we got $1 million from the Gold Leaf Foundation to do. The university got that. Department of Energy, the U.S. Department of Energy has put money in our facility. This is a rotation crop of soybean. It's about 60 gallons per acre that it produces. And again, it's about rotating and understanding how we deal with crops. I was talking to Senator Burr's staff when we were going after grant money, and I want to say that his staff was very helpful in getting grant money in the beginning of this. But I want to say that the initial conversation is about we don't want to displace food crop. What is interesting here is when you look at the ecological system, there's a rotation. A farmer has to rotate crop in order to keep the nutrients in the soil that they need. What we're talking about is let's make the rotation between marrying up farmers with us, which we have. We're working with the farming community to add different their different sites, crops, and then we're able to rotate the rotational crops between food crops, energy crops, and then what we'll call soil crops, putting crops in that help bring the soil nutrients to their optimum value. So this is really, when you look at EcoComplex, and why government should be doing this is the marrying of different parts of our society, from business to farming to youth. we're just now, just got completed our bioprocessing facility. And what does this mean? Before we were crushing this with a temporary crusher that we could move from ASU campus to our campus, and it's in a trailer. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to go to pressing our own oil, and then we want to lease that oil to restaurants. And then at the end of that lease, we want to bring it back to the facility and make fuel with it. And so it becomes more of creating a larger circle of how things work and work together in an ecological system. And it's a different science involved in creating biodiesel. Biodiesel is not the same as running your car on French fry oil, by the way. So it's a different component. There's just different elements in it. Part of the money that we got from Department of Energy, Appalachian State University, we developed a car, and this car is tied with a dynamometer, which I don't have a picture with, but if you want to come and tour our site, please do. We have a dynamometer. Other than race shops, we're the only ones in North Carolina that have it. But what we have it there for is to do testing on emissions, on energy, value in feedstocks. We're also doing algae to biofuel. And the interesting thing here is before we got this dynamometer, when we would run tests, we'd put a student in the car and they would drive to ASU and drive back, and then we would read we'd take the data and we would look at it. We determined that it doesn't matter whether the same student does it every time using different fuels, it always comes back. We don't know whether it was the same driver or not. Did they get stopped by a stoplight? Did they drive a little faster, drive a little slower? But what the dynamometer allows us to do is to run the same course every single time, and then we can look at B5, B10, B15, B20. We can look at how the energy changes within the output, and we can understand what it does to the actual equipment, whether that's a car or heavy equipment on the landfill. Currently, the fuels that we derive here, we use the heavy equipment in the landfill, but what we're researching is, because biodiesel fumes like to migrate between about 7 feet and 14 feet, it kind of sits there. And if you remember as a kid riding a school bus, when they would stop at stops, you could smell the diesel. There's a good reason that it likes hanging out in that if the wind's not blowing. Well, what we're trying to do here is try to understand if we're burning biodiesel versus fossil fuel, what does that do? How does that change? Does that make a difference? We think it makes a difference, but right now we're putting the science data behind that to be able to tell you for sure it makes a difference. And these are things that we're involved in. It's something that you can be proud of. We're in the last stages of bringing a wood gasification energy facility here in partnership with GE Energy and a company called NextEra out of British Columbia. It'll be the first of its kind out in the first of its kind in North America, other than the test system that's sitting at the University of British Columbia. We have tied research between UNCC and the University of British Columbia to carry this wood gasification system into gasifying other biomaterials, and the research will be done at both of the universities, and it's great. It's great for a lot of reasons. Again, I mentioned earlier having young people around to carry on, but really having young people and diversity within a group, it really brings out these types of things. And what makes this different? What makes this system different? They were doing this in Germany in World War I. They've been making diesel fuel out of gasifying wood since the First World War. What makes this different is this is able to strip the tars out of it so they can run it in an internal combustion engine at long periods of time without it tarring up the pistons. And that's what makes it different. I won't get into all the science of it, but it is indeed the first of its kind. I've been in research in Goosing, Austria for 11 years, and I've been able to be involved in that, but this particular system is like the fourth generation of that. What else is at the EcoComplex? Well, part of the EcoComplex was obviously marrying the synergetic relationships, and when you have a landfill, you end up with property around the landfill that you borrow soil from, because it takes a lot of soil to operate landfills and to build landfills. So what we wanted to do is we ended up getting all the soil we could get off a particular property. We wanted to turn it to a taxpaying entity, but we wanted an entity to be within this ecosystem that we have derived. And so we ended up going out looking for an entity to use the heat from the GE and Bacher engines that burn the landfill gas. They put out about 740 degree Fahrenheit heat during the process off of the exhaust and about 240 off the cooling area of the engine. We went out looking for a company. This company, Gregory Wood Products, ended up locating here on the EcoComplex with the first thought of them using that heat derived from the Embarker units to dry their timber. But as you can see, 65,000 board feet hours, a lot of timber, and we didn't have the energy to dry that much material. But what we did say is, if the woody biomass, we could use the woody biomass to create additional energy. That was more energy than they needed, and we could intertwine that with the other energy that we had, and we could go for more. We could use it as a resource to bring other companies to this site. So we did that. It employs 115 people. They have a flat ad valorem tax, which means they pay a minimum ad valorem tax annually, whether it appraises for that or not, or the higher value. It was a really good deal for Catawba County. Our second company was Pallet One, and this is Pallet One's only recycling plant in the U.S. They totally recycle at this facility. This facility has the capability of building new pallets, but we were able to arrange contracts for this company to where they can do 100% recycling. What makes this great for the EcoComplex, or the ecology of this system, is the busted up wood boards that they take off the pallets and put new wood boards on. They marry up with Gregory Wood Products on the new board side, and we marry up on the back side using in the wood gasifier. The busted boards are able to be energy derived to carry on fuel other resources. Getting into university research, this is I think amazing in itself, and how we've been able to marry numerous universities in doing research at our site, and it's really a great teaching. I can't tell you, this summer I want to say that we had 7 students from 7 different universities that came to our site and built the biodiesel facility that I mentioned earlier. If you come out to our site and visit it, 7 students, very diverse, built this. They learned how to weld. Our welders, we have welders that work for the county at the landfill, and we taught them how to weld. They had hands-on teaching. Great environment. The biodiesel, Appalachian State's doing the research on the biodiesel. Just a couple of things, a couple of shots of some of the things that they're researching. Also, anaerobic bioreactor landfill gas management. Really, that's trying to create more energy from the landfill, keeping the landfill at optimum temperatures and moisture for creating microorganisms. University of Charlotte's doing algae research, multi-feed anaerobic digestion, syngas, wood ethanol, and that's what's happening out at our site. And I wish you'd come out and see us. Please call, set up a time. We'd love to give you a tour of the facility. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and look into what government's doing and what we're doing for you. Thank you.